Hi there, thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Natasha, welcome to my channel. This video is another ranking video and today I'm going to be ranking all of my single shadows. So all of my singles are housed in this palette here from Cleopatra Cosmetics. It's from their stained glass collection and I have it sorted here by brand. So all of the singles from the same brand are together. When I was trying to figure out the best way to rank these, I didn't like the idea of just doing my least favorite shadow up to my most favorite. The main reason for that is because my favorites could be very different depending on what kind of look I'm going for or what kind of mood I'm in that day. So I mean, there are some shimmery shades in here, some mattes, some colorful, some neutral shades. All of them are favorites and I kind of just wanted to represent them in that way, and ranking them from least to most favorite like that in a linear way, in such an absolute way, just didn't feel fair to me. So instead of just doing least to most favorite, I'm going to be doing my least to most favorite within each brand, and that way I can really tell you which formulations I prefer, which colors I think that brand does best, etc. I think it would be more informative that way and it'll be a lot easier for me to organize it. So I am going to zoom you in a little bit so that we can really look at the shadows. What I'll do is I'll explain my ranking from here, showing you each of the individual shadows, and then at the end of each brand, I'll show you a swatch on my hand. I think that'll be the most succinct and informative way to do this, so let's get started. Like I said, in my palette, everything is separated by brand. So up here, these ones are all Makeup Geek. These ones along the side are ColourPop. The ones in the middle here are Anastasia Beverly Hills, and the ones on the bottom are from Cleona. And then I have two singles here. These are each from different brands. This one is from NYX and this one is from Tarte. I'm going to start with these ones over here. These are all of my Makeup Geek shadows. I'm choosing these because these are the first single shadows that I ever bought. I started collecting singles and curating my singles collection at the beginning of 2017, and these were some of the first formulas I played with and kind of what made me fall in love with single shadows to begin with. So I have Morocco, Starry Eyed, Hot Pants, Petal Pusher, Phantom, High Wire, and Daydreamer. I would say my least favorite shade from Makeup Geek would have to be this silver shade right here. It's in the shade High Wire. It's from their foiled formula, and I'm not dissing the formula by any means. I love their foiled shadows. I just think it's the color. It's a deeper silver, and so I can really only use it in a few specific ways. Even when I'm going for a cool tone look, I'm rarely reaching for a straight up silver shade. It's one of my least used singles. I do think it's still good, and I would like to play with it more and explore different options when it comes to colors like that. So I do hold on to it, but I would say out of all of them, this one is not my most favorite. The next one would be this duochrome shade right behind it. It's in the shade Phantom. This one, I had high expectations when I purchased it. I thought it was gonna be more like Wabam, straight up duochrome purple. Instead, if you use too much of it, it can look quite powdery. I do think it's a pretty dry, powdery formula. I really only use it as an inner corner highlight, and I do like it for that. I think it adds a cool dimension, like it looks like brightening in one section, and then when you turn your head, it kind of does a flash of purple. I do like it for that, and if for some reason I want to use a highlighter that has a purple shift to it, I can use that instead of having a full-size highlighter. I don't think I'll ever need it for that, but it'd be nice to have it just in case. I do like it for an inner corner, which is why I keep it, but the way it looks on the lids is a bit underwhelming. It doesn't give me the effect that I hoped it would. I would say the next one would be Daydreamer here. This is another foiled shadow. This is really pretty, but it does pull more silver than purple on my lids. If it pulled more purple than silver, I would like it and probably rank it higher, but just the way it looks on my skin, it can kind of wash me out a little bit. I would say my next one would be Hot Pants here from Makeup Geek. It's not part of their foiled formula, but it does have a sheen to it, and it is a really pretty duochrome shade. It's a warm purple base and then it flashes light blue, and I do really love that. However, I have another shade very similar to it in a Stila Glitter and Glow. This is in Sea Siren, and if you can see, that color is very, very similar. It has that warm purple base and then it shifts blue. It also shifts kind of pink and purple as well. This obviously with the formula, it just packs more of a punch, and when I'm going for that type of look, I definitely reach for this over the Makeup Geek single. It's not really fair to compare a regular powder eyeshadow with a glitter liquid shadow. Obviously one of them is going to look a lot more high impact, but whenever I'm going for a look like that, I am going for high impact. So just because I have a better version of it already in my collection, this one I wouldn't consider to be my favorite. My next one would be Petal Pusher here. I would say Petal Pusher and Morocco are tied. They are both from the matte formula. They both perform beautifully. I use Petal Pusher more in the crease, and then Morocco I use to kind of warm up a look. Usually I use it in the outer corner more because it is a little bit deeper. I love the color and the formula of them both, and it just depends on what kind of look I'm going for. Am I going for more of a cool tone purple look or more of a warm orangey look? So I would say that those are tied for second place. They're just different colors, so it depends on what look I'm going for. And my top favorite would definitely have to be Starry Eyed. If you can see, it's the only Makeup Geek shadow I've hit pan on. I love this on the inner corner. I love it on the lids. It is a more cool tone shade, but it still has enough champagne that it looks like brightening and not icy. You can tone it down or build it up. It's just a very versatile shade. I find that it really brightens up and changes up any look that I put it with, and I just really love it. It's my favorite. Now let's look at my ColourPop shades. Up here I have Goody Two Shoes, Glass Bowl, Issues, Team Captain, Wait For It, Paper Tiger, Howlin', 143, and Double Date. And I like all of these. Obviously all these singles are good enough for me to keep, or else I would have decluttered them a long time ago. But I would say my least favorite of my ColourPop singles is this one right here, Glass Bowl. This is a lot of people's favorite ColourPop shade. A lot of people love it because it is more of a transformer. It looks different depending on what you put underneath it. And if you can see in different lightings, it looks more purpley gray. In other lightings, it looks more green blue. It is a really pretty shade. It just doesn't pack a punch for me. It's already kind of a crumbly shade, but when you build it up, it really doesn't like get brighter or more dramatic. It kind of just stays the same. And every time I wear it, it's just not as high impact or as exciting as I thought it would be on the lids. It's always just kind of underwhelming. Still good enough for me to keep. It has a place in my collection. It's just not my most reached for shade. I would say my next least favorite one is this one right here, Paper Tiger. In the pan, it looks more of like a Dijon mustard shade, but when you put it on the lids, at least when I put it on my lids, it pulls a lot more yellow. So I'm ranking it lower because it doesn't look like this on my lids. My next two are tied for these two pastel shades right here. I have Issues and Howlin'. Issues, I really have to build up a lot to really show up on my skin, and it is very light, so it's more of a transition shade. And whenever I do use it, it doesn't really add that much of a difference to my look versus not using it at all. And then the next one here, Howlin', it's a really nice pastel purple shade, and I do like it, but I prefer the formula and the pigment of the Strobe Cosmetics purple. The shade up top right here, Planchet. It's a tiny, tiny bit more cool toned than Howlin'. When you wear them on the lids, it's not that noticeable, but I choose Planchet over Howlin' anytime, which is why I have it ranked lower. I would say my next one would be Double Date. We're kind of going into the ones that I really like and I'm having trouble ranking them. This one here, Double Date, is a shimmery shade. It's more of a refined shimmer. It's not super glittery or high impact, and it is a really nice purple shade. I don't reach for this enough. I actually pulled this from my makeup basket in August because I wanted to play with it more, and I do really like it. It's especially nice all over the lid as a one eyeshadow look. It's just not something I gravitate for. It's not like I ever think, oh, this is the look I want to create today using this shade. When I look at the ones I have left, I would choose my next one to be Wait For It. This is a really pretty coral shade. You can keep it light and it'll look more of like a pastel, or you can build it up to more of like a neon bright coral. And I love it. I love it in the summertime. If I don't use it correctly, it can make me look kind of sickly, but that can be said for most pink shadows in general, so it's not really the eyeshadow's fault. Big fan of that, and I love the formula. I think it performs really well. Then I would say probably Goody Two Shoes. This is one of my newer ColourPop shadows, and it's a really, really pretty charcoal gray. And it has a little bit of a shimmer to it without being that noticeable. It just kind of gives more of like a natural sheen on the lids. I love this for deepening up. I love it for creating a smoky eye. It's just a really nice shade, and I really like it. So that's why it's, what is that, number 3? Next one would have to be this purple right here, 143. If you guys know, I'm trying to hit pan on the purple shade from the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette, and it's a very similar purple. I don't like the formula for that. It's very dry and patchy, and it takes a lot of building to get the pigment that you want. 143 is a lot easier to work with. They're not exact color dupes, but when it comes to using a bright purple, I always reach for this over Ladyship. And I think for being under $5, it's a very, very well performing purple. And I would have to say my favorite, and probably one of my more unique shadows, is Team Captain right here. I'm wearing it a little bit in the crease, and I love this. I think it's gorgeous, and it stays green. Sometimes when you have dark greens like this, and you put them on the lid, sometimes they pull more gray, like the green just kind of disappears. The green stays around. Like, there's a little hint of green in my crease because of this shade, and it's just one of my more unique shades. I really love it, and I love how it changes up the look. Now let's look at my Anastasia Beverly Hills singles. I have Warm Taupe, Stone, Dusty Rose, Macaroon, Pink Champagne, Metal, and Morocco. Not to be confused with Morocco from Makeup Geek. If you can see, Morocco from Makeup Geek is a lot more orange, and Morocco from ABH is more brown. These are all relatively new to me, and I do honestly prefer the matte formula over the shimmer ones, just because I have better performing shimmers that give more of an impact than these ones. These ones are just a little bit more subtle in general, with the exception of Metal. I think that's a really nice shimmer. I'd say my least favorite of the 7 is Pink Champagne right here. It's just so much more pink than I remember. When I see Pink Champagne in other ABH palettes, it looks like more silvery and bright, but whenever I got this single, it was just a lot more pink. And I don't really wear that type of shade very often where it's like a pinky shimmer. I just don't use it often enough, so that would definitely be at the bottom. My next one would have to be Dusty Rose. From the research that I did looking at swatches and stuff like that online, I did think that this was going to be a tiny bit more purpley, but shades like this, for some reason, even if they look purpley in the pan, they pull more pink on my lids. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what it is about my skin tone, so I'm not gonna like it as much for that reason alone. I wish it pulled more true to color on my lids. The rest of them I really like, so I don't have any rhyme or reason for ranking them. The next one I would say is Morocco, just because it's a little bit more boring of a shade. It doesn't pull as reddish as it looks in the pan on my lids. It just looks like a regular brown. Still a good formula, still really like it, and I like having a darker shade if I want to make like a quad or go traveling and I want to take a deepening shade. I like having that. It definitely has a place in my collection, but it's not like the most interesting, exciting shade in my collection. I love Stone. I think that's a really, really pretty subtle transition shade. It's a true grayish brown, and it definitely pulls cool toned on my lids. It is a nice enough transition shade. It actually shows up. It's not too light, it's not too dark, and I really like it whenever I'm doing more cool toned or neutral looks. This shade here, Warm Taupe, I actually have it in my Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I did hit pan on it recently. And so I wanted to purchase this, number one, because I can see myself using up Warm Taupe from the ABH palette, but also because I wanted to take it with me when I was traveling. Really gorgeous, cool toned brown, really nice in the crease. I also can use this in my eyebrows. And like I said before, I do like the matte formula from ABH. I would say Macaroon is my next favorite. It's a really pretty purple. It's kind of like what I wished Double Date was like. If you can see, Double Date is a little bit more warm tone than Macaroon, but Macaroon is more high impact. It definitely makes more of a impact on the lids, and so Macaroon is kind of what I wished Double Date was. And I would say definitely my favorite is Metal. This is so pretty. It has elements of gold and silver in it, so you can use it for both warm tone and cool tone looks. And it is a very brightening shade. I love it. I love it for the lid, for the inner corner. I just think it's a really nice shade. And it is a little bit more unique to my collection because I can shift the undertone of it depending on what other colors I wear with it. Now let's talk about Cleona. It's these shades right here. I only own one matte shade, and all the other ones are either duochromes or glitter shades or shimmer shades. This one here is called Emerald. This one is Ripple. This is Bookworm, Prophecy, Morgana, Rune, Arcana, Aquavite, and Filigree. When it comes to my least favorite, I'd probably say this one here. This is Ripple. I think it's from their multi-chrome, and it's just the formula. It's very, very crumbly. It's a really pretty color, but it's just incredibly crumbly and it has a lot of fallout, so it's harder to work with. So I'd say that's my least favorite. And then Bookworm, I would say, is my second to last favorite. It's a fine formula. It's just a lot more blue than I thought it would be. When I looked at swatches online, I thought it was more green, but when it came in the mail, I realized it's a lot more blue than it is green, and I just don't favor blues, so that one is second to last. I would say Arcana is the next one. It's just a lot more subtle. It reminds me of Glass Bowl, where I thought it was going to have more of an impact, and then it just didn't end up doing that on my lids. So I would say Arcana is third from the bottom. Next one is Filigree. This is a purpley shimmer shade, and it just pulls very silver on my lids very similar to the Daydreamer shade from Makeup Geek, perhaps even more so silver than that one. Next one, Prophecy. That one is currently in a Pan Those Eyeshadows project, and it is really pretty. It's got a pink base and then it flashes gold. When I wear it on my lids, I want kind of like an even shift between pink and gold, but it just pulls really gold. It's like most of the time you can't even tell I have a pink duochrome on, but it's still really pretty and it is very shiny and I do like it. It's just not my favorite. I love Aquavite. This is gorgeous. It's got kind of like a silvery shift and it has a really light blue base. Really love it. I love it in conjunction with this Tarte shade right here, this purpley burgundy shade. I think they look really nice together. Then I would say Morgana. It's a really, really pretty, I think Kelly green would be the best way to describe it. It's got a shimmer to it. It's very unique to my collection. It's what I wanted the Stila Jade duo to look like. This is the color and formula that I wanted. And then probably my most favorite is Rune. I'm just really into olives right now. It's a gorgeous olive green with a gold shift. Very pigmented, looks true to color on the lids. Just a really nice formula, definitely my favorite one. I forgot to mention Emerald. This would go right behind Rune. This would be number 2. It's really pretty. It's kind of more of a mint green than an emerald green. I'm wearing it on my lids today and I just love how brightening it is with like a hint of green. It's just enough green to like be noticeable but not be too much. Big fan, a beautiful formula, so it would go Emerald and then Rune. And then these last 2 shades, obviously I can't rank them because I only have one from each brand. I will say NYX, I've tried a couple other from this brand and I decluttered all of them. I tried After Party and Spellbound. They were both kind of olive shades. Neither of them performed well. They were more shimmery and the shimmer was just non-existent. It didn't perform on the lids, it didn't blend well, and it wasn't shimmery at all. So those ones I decluttered and Cougar is the one I kept. It's a really nicely formulated yellow, and if you're going to try any of the NYX singles, I would recommend trying the mattes over the shimmers. And then this one right here, this is a single from Tarte. It's in the shade Rebel. I love the shadows from this line, but they're like $14 a piece, which is easily one of my more expensive shadows. To compare, the shade right here, Emerald from Cleona, this was also I think $14, and look how much more product you get than this one. Also, a little heads up, if you have the Color Drain Queen of Hearts palette, the shade Noble Woman is very, very similar to Rebel. If you can see, they're almost the exact same shade, very similar in formula and performance. And so if you already have the Queen of Hearts palette, I don't think you need to run out and buy Rebel. But it is a phenomenal formula. I would love to purchase more colors from this line. It's just the price is holding me back. If they have like a half off sale or something, I'd definitely pick up more, but with the current price, I'm good with the one I have. So those are all of my singles ranked. I hope you liked the way I set it up versus just doing least to most favorite. It was a lot easier for me to keep it organized this way, and I just feel like it was more informative in general. Let me know if you have any singles favorites that I don't have. I would love to try out some more formulas and more colors. I would like to expand my singles collection a little bit, maybe not too much, but I'm always on the lookout for nice formulas and nice colors. But in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!